What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Live Locks presented by Scores and Odds. If you haven't checked it out already, just making bad live choices, going over to scoresandodds.com, where you got picks from me, Means, Dina, all the greats. Plus, you get access to our nice little prop shopping tool where you can see exactly what we have projected for each individual prop, plus where the best lines at. And most importantly, you get access to Grant's Action Lounge. What is Grant's Action Lounge? Well, it's my Discord where I'm throwing in all my picks each and every day. Just go to scoresandodds.com/Discord. Just throw it in the chat now so you can get the lines before they end up moving. We got some bets today. We got some baseball. We got some basketball. We'll just go ahead and get right into it. Starting off with Dustin May under 5.5 strikeouts. You can get this a plus 105, I believe, over at MGM. We'll go ahead and check to see if the lines have moved at all. Dustin May, no, it's moving. So now the best odds are minus 105, minus 112 over it. FanDuel, it's moving, but I still like it at that. So Dustin May, seven or eight starts last year. I think he only hit the over on this one time. Strange enough, it was in his first start. Tough start going up against the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are one of the better non-strikeout teams in the entire league. Yeah. Oh, I'm looking at yesterday. Still maybe looking at yesterday. There we go. Yeah, only 5 games today, so not going to be a ton of bets. But yeah, look at this. Carroll strikes out at over 20% clip. McCarthy strikes out at over 20% clip versus righties. And Ahmed strikes out over 20% clip. That's it. Everyone else, lower strikeout guys. 19.7%. Dustin May, not a huge strikeout guy. Definitely better versus lefties, which doesn't go well with the fact that he's going to be facing 5 of them. But still, overall, 25% K rate going up against lefties. This is just overall not a great spot and too high of a line. It's going to keep moving. So heading now. Lance Lynn under 17.5 outs. So that's under 6 innings. First start of the year, dude's 35. Gets a tough matchup going up against Houston. Line is just a bit too high here. Really like the under. And then Jared Kelenic to hit a home run, plus 600 at FanDuel. Let's see if it's still at that. Kelenic, it's moved to 520, so it's moving. Yeah, RG likes this. It was saying at 400, 420, 430. I think over at MGM earlier. Gets a matchup. Don't love the weather. It's going to be 42 degrees outside, I believe, over in Seattle. Seattle, obviously, open air dome, so there's going to be a little bit more insulation in there, but still not going to be great hitting weather. But overall, Gaddis giving up a decent amount of home runs in the minors. Not a huge sample size in the major, just 30 or 40 plate appearances, but giving up a massive 56% hard hit rate, massive fly ball rate to lefties. Again, not a huge sample size, but giving up both sides. Massive hard contact rate to lefties. Kelenic has some pop, 26, 25, 24, whatever. Home runs in 140 games between the AAA and the majors last year. If you want a turd bomb, there it is. Now let's get some basketball. We're just going to go game by game here, starting off with the first game on the slate. That is OKC Indy. I got nothing yet. SGA might play, so no lines at. Same thing with Toronto and Philly. Wasn't sure about Embiid, so didn't really get any bets in yet. But Orlando going up against Washington. Palo, I'm taking the under 31.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 105, and under points, 20.5, minus 115. Not really a great matchup, not a terrible matchup going up against Washington, but will be largely subdued. Line's just a bit too high, and that's kind of it. It's a lot worse other places. DraftKings / Betway, same thing. Has been a little bit hesitant to move it. Chicago versus Charlotte, got nothing in that game. Utah Boston, got nothing in that game. A lot of games. Second of it back-to-back with Boston. Obviously, everyone's questionable now, so really not a ton of lines out. Charlotte, Dennis Smith Jr., I think is questionable. Oubre is questionable. So not a ton of lines. But New York going up against Cleveland. I got a bet here. RJ Barrett over 27.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 109 over at Caesars. So we know that there is going to be no what's his name? No Julius Randle in this spot here. So we're going to go ahead and pull up Plate IQ. That's the bat right there. Little freebie there. If you haven't signed up for the bat, absolutely fantastic. Best projection system out there, made by Cardi. I highly suggest it. It's great for gambling. It's great for DFS. It's just a great system. It's the one I trust by far the most. Don't fully trust it always, but definitely trust it. But Yeah, looking at Barrett's numbers without Randall on the floor per 36, 21.58 points per 36, 3.16 assists per 36, almost 6 boards per 36. Bit of a increase here. Not huge, but I think honestly it should be a lot more. Randall's been just massive on the offensive end. So even though a tough match versus Cleveland, someone's going to have to get it done. Obviously, Grimes can do a little bit. Brunson can do a lot, but Obi Toppin not really going to do a ton. Mitch Robb not going to do a ton on the offensive end. So it kind of comes down to RJ Barrett. Next game, we got Atlanta going up against Brooklyn. Got a few bets here. Trae Young over. Did I hit Trae Young? There it is. Trae Young over 26.5 points, minus 113 over at FanDuel. I think there's better lines on sites that wouldn't let me get down anything. Look here. I know that as soon as I hit the. Yeah, so MGM, I would take it over at MGM, minus 125, honestly. Although minus 106 on the over. Not a bad line. I got minus 113, so it's moved in the opposite direction. Never really great, but I still like the bet. Rolling with Capella over 23.5 points, rebounds, assists, and over 11.5 points. We'll go ahead and pull up his game log here in the spot. He's been crushing it the last 3 games. 12 and 10, 18 and 16, 17 and 17, 11 and 8, not great, but 12 and 16, 15 and 12. So hit the over in 4 or 5 of the last 6 games. Been playing decent minutes, 27 plus in pretty much every single game that stays close. Should be right around 30 in this spot. Going up against Claxton, probably going to need him for his minutes. Been playing really well. Atlanta playing at a massive clip. Capella, both those lines are too low. And then on the other side, hit Dinwiddie over 9.5 assists. He's just been dishing out the ball on massive. Last 10 games, he's top 3, top 4 into potential assists. Getting it plus odds, plus 110. We'll see if the line is moved here. Looking, enhance. Still plus 110 over at MGM, plus 110 over at DK still. So I get both those. Again, massive potential assists. Hit the over in this like 7 out of the last 10 games, something like that. So been really good at dishing the ball out. And then Bridges, I took his alt over at 30 plus 150 over at, that's supposed to be, say, Betfred. Fudge that one up. Let me fix that real quick. Yeah, sorry about that. I think it's actually pretty much the same odds over at DK/Betway. Pretty much same odds. But the normal line, I like that too, if you can get it at a normal line. Oh, it's 27 everywhere now. Was it at 27 before? I don't know. I'd still take over 27 at minus 1 and 2, but plus 150 on 30 plus is more appealing to me. I think it was at 26 plus earlier. Let me see. I wrote this up. Let me see exactly what it was. Sorry, memory ain't as good as it used to be. No, it was at 26.5, so it has moved. If you can still get it plus 150, but I'm guessing we'll go ahead and pull up FanDuel here and see what the alt lines. I don't hate the alt line all the way up to 35, but that was what I had it earlier. But Hawks playing first, second fastest pace since their new coach took over. Plus 140 still at 30 plus. I like that. And plus 390 for 35 plus. So definitely both those are still in play. But yeah, Atlanta running at a massive, massive pace since the coaching change, and they've been playing mediocre to bad defense since then. So great spot for Bridges overall. Next game, Detroit, Houston. Jaden Ivey under 21.5 points. That was just an awful line. I think most places had it at 19.5. FanDuel had it 21.5. So it was an easy under. No, still can get it 21.5. And yes, it's still sitting at. Nope. It's moving. It's moving on up. Still like the under on this, but yeah, like I said, it was at 19.5. That was clearly a bad line. Moved to 20.5, like the over on 20.5. Caesars does. But I think the under of 21.5 is the best line. Again, he's been playing well the last few games, but overall, not fantastic, like not nearly to this rate. Marvin Bagley, I took the alt line over 24.5 points, rebounds, assists, plus 140. The regular line, he's been playing really well recently. The normal line is Bagley, come on. 22.5 minus 120 on the over. I can't get MGM, and I think all the other spots minus 123. I mean, I just prefer the alt line. I still like the regular line. I still might hit the regular line over at Caesars where they'll make money down. But yeah, this alt line plus 140. He's been great the last few games. Great matchup going up against Houston. Houston, second worst defensive team, potentially worst defensive team in the league, depending on how you look at it. Lakers going up against Minnesota, going right back to the well. Edwards over 24.5 points. Lines have moved a lot, but it's also a good matchup going up against the Lakers. Lakers playing a lot faster pace with James on the floor and not as good defensively. But Edwards over 24.5 points, minus 115 over at Betfred. Too low of a line, in my opinion. I think you can also get this over at FanDuel. And I took Cat over points, rebounds, assists, 33.5, minus 109 at Caesars. Was going to do the alts, but the alts just didn't look great to me, to be honest. Not great lines. Cat per 36 without Russ on the floor, great numbers. Should play close to 36 in this. We have projected for 35.26 in this spot. You can still get the over 33.5 at minus 105. Nice. Over at DraftKings and over at MGM. And let me get down. Crap. Nothing for the Clippers, Minnesota. Nothing for San Antonio, Golden State. But the Kings versus Portland, going right back to the well on the alt for Shaden Sharp. Over his regular line, 31.5 points, rebounds, assists, minus 121. Over 34.5 plus 135 to get more money on it. 40 plus 340 over at WinBet. I know this has gone up drastically, but the dude's playing 38 minutes a night, regardless of if it's a blow or not. Literally played 45 in this exact same match the other night. Had 45 plus points, rebounds, assists. Been absolutely fantastic. Same thing with points, taking the over of 22.5 points, minus 117 at Caesars. And then going right back to Eubanks, over 9.5 points, minus 123 at Caesars. We have projected for like 12. Over 6.5 rebounds, playing a decent amount of juice, minus 139 at Caesars. Both lines too low. But that's it. That's the show. Hope you enjoyed it. Be back again on Monday. If I don't have a kid by then, we're out of here. Play, kids!